Welcome to another Barn Explorer. Today I'm looking at the Lagokie farm. Great-grandpa Lagokie came here in the early 30s. Started his farm out here. Then his son later on, in the early 50s, built this farm. This was originally a canned milk house. Then they added to it. That's what a tank would look like inside that milk house. Originally a tank stuck out this hole, but the tank is gone now, so they covered it with plywood. If you look, you can see 2x6 that they used for the forms when they built the milk house. But I think the milk house was built in two pieces. I think the first milk house was there in the front, and that was the canned milk house. You can see the different texture and color in the cement. Now I wanted to show you inside the milk house, but somebody has something stored in there, so they padlocked it. So there's no way to show you inside. Now the front slab went all the way out to the road. When I was a kid, there was a fence, 2x6 painted fence, white, all the way around this slab, marking where the cows could go and not go. It really was a beautiful barn in its time. Now, two of the main things that you find stripped out of a barn right off the bat are these windows, because there's 6 square windows, and the stanchions. For some reason, as soon as a barn looks abandoned or like nobody's paying attention, vandals come in and strip that out of them. This was a big farm. This was all part of the pasture to it, went up on that ridge and all the way clear back to that tree line way back over there. Now, like most old barns, they get filled full of garbage. Old breeding records. Bits and pieces of projects. The last things that were being worked on are being built in here. Pieces of them still left there. The last time was 74 when cows were bred in this barn. I really don't know why people have to fill them full of garbage. Now the gutter's been filled in, but that's where the gutter used to be. This would have been looking down the center aisle. That's the feeder. There would have been stanchions hanging here. Each one of these spots would have been a separate stanchion. That's where the bolt would have come up, mounted to the timber. Stanchion, much like that one. They would have been all along here. See there, that one there, they still have the anchor left. Stanchion would have hung right on that pin. They even took out the divider boards off that side. This side still has them. That's what a row of stanchions would have looked like. Notice the little water tub in the middle. Just more It still had stanchions in it in the late 80s. I actually milked the family cows here when the Lagokie family went on a vacation. I stayed in the house for a week and took care of the cows. They had 2 cows that they milked just for house milk. All that stuff, the vacuum pump, all that is gone now. This is the loft. I've never been up in the loft of this barn. Never actually seen up inside before. It's actually pretty clean. It's got a good roof on the place. So this was a big barn, even for its time. You look out across it and just imagine the cows lined up in there getting milked. Another medicine box. Pony shoe, calf halter, medicines. And then into the loping shed. Now the loping shed was built about 68 and it was added to the back of the barn. See, the cows would have went right through there from the loping shed. Grandpa Lagokie had added on. He was starting to build up his herd. Trying to get up with the times. He was a little bit of a visionary because he understood if he didn't update, he'd get left behind. This is where stalls would have been, bedding. It would look something similar to that. All up and down both sides, down the center. Now newer rung stalls, farmers like these better because the cows don't get tangled up in them. I'm pretty sure this one had the old wooden stalls in it. And there probably would have been a feeder down the middle somewhere. And right here is one big liquid manure tank. This square, this whole slab here is the cap. There's one great big tank under there full. Well, it's supposed to be liquid manure, but these days I think it's mostly rainwater. But that thing's going to be about 20 feet deep. There's an agitator hole. That's an agitator. You drop one in, it hooks to the back of the tractor. You can stir it up and then reverse it and use it as a pump to pump it into a liquid manure tank like that. The farmers learned that liquid manure had a quicker impact on the soil, that they could get more nutrients onto the field quicker if they sprayed it on with liquid manure. This would have been the back of the slab, the back of the barn. Now, Grandpa Lagokie passed away suddenly, early. And there was nobody to take over milking. His son, Joe, who actually ended up with the place eventually, was trying to add on to the barn here, add stalls. He wanted to raise heifers. He didn't want to milk cows. He just wanted to raise heifers. When his dad had passed, he had already been set up in another job with his own house. So his mom and sister still living here. They couldn't milk cows by themselves. So the cows all went away. the barn went empty for some time. They had renters come in and lease the property and lease the barn for dry cows or calves or heifers, but it never worked out for them. Joe, he was full of ambition, but somehow it petered out. So when Joe's grandpa came here in the early 30s, they would have came here and started milking cows in a barn much like this one. Very simple, built 1800s, and it would have sat right there. The Lagokie family originally came here from Colorado. They were coal miners. They wanted a better life, and they heard about vast patches of land out in the Northwest. So they packed up and came here. Joe's dad moved here when he was about 6. Now, Joe's dad worked in a railroad yard just up the road from here, loading and unloading railroad cars. And he started building this barn in the 50s. Now the developers are squeezing in on it. They're gonna tear all this down because they can put a bunch of houses in here. So this is probably the last pictures of this barn. By next summer it'll be gone. But this was the Lagokie farm. Thank you for coming with me. I'll see you in the next trip.